Evolution is simply change over time. It's happening all around us, constantly shaping the living world, but it's not about individual creatures changing during their lifetime. It's about populations, groups of the same species, gradually shifting their traits over generations. Think of it like a slow, steady dance of adaptation. Imagine a field of flowers. Some are taller, some shorter, some have brighter colors, some more subdued. These differences, these variations, are the raw material of evolution. Over time, the environment might favor certain traits. For example, if bees prefer bright flowers, those flowers might reproduce more successfully. This means more seeds with the genes for bright colors get passed on. Over many generations, the entire field might become dominated by vibrant blooms. That's evolution in action, a gradual shift in the characteristics of a population driven by environmental pressures. Evolution isn't random. It's a complex and intricate process that has been shaping life on Earth for billions of years. It's guided by powerful forces that shape the diversity of life. These forces are not just abstract concepts. They're tangible and observable in the natural world around us. These forces are always at play, pushing and pulling on the genetic makeup of populations. They create a dynamic and ever-changing tapestry of life, where every species is constantly adapting to its environment. We can group them into 5 main categories: mutation, migration, mating, population size, and natural selection. Each of these drivers plays a unique role in the evolutionary process, contributing to the incredible diversity of life we see today. Mutation is the ultimate source of new traits. It's the raw material for evolution, providing the genetic variations that can be acted upon by other forces. It's a random change in an organism's DNA, the blueprint of life. These changes can occur due to errors in DNA replication, exposure to certain chemicals, or radiation. These changes can be beneficial, harmful, or neutral depending on the environment. Beneficial mutations can give an organism an advantage, while harmful ones can be detrimental to survival. Migration, or gene flow, introduces new genes into a population when individuals move between groups. This movement can bring new genetic material into a population, increasing its genetic diversity. This can increase genetic diversity and introduce new adaptations. It allows populations to adapt to new environments and challenges, promoting survival and reproduction. Mating patterns also play a crucial role. The way individuals choose their mates can have a significant impact on the genetic makeup of future generations. If individuals with certain traits are more likely to mate, those traits become more common in the next generation. This process, known as sexual selection, can lead to the development of remarkable adaptations and behaviors. Population size matters too. Smaller populations are more susceptible to random fluctuations in gene frequencies, a phenomenon known as genetic drift. In small populations, chance events can have a large impact on which genes are passed on to the next generation. Finally, there's natural selection, the most famous driver of evolution. This is the process where organisms with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. This is the process where organisms with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce, passing on their advantageous genes. Over time, this leads to the adaptation of species to their environments, driving the incredible diversity of life on Earth. Selection pressure and variation are two sides of the evolutionary coin. These two forces work together to shape the incredible diversity of life we see on Earth today. Selection pressure is any factor in the environment that favors certain traits over others. It acts as a filter, determining which individuals are more likely to survive and reproduce. It could be anything from predators to climate change to competition for resources. For instance, in a desert environment, water scarcity can be a significant selection pressure. Variation, on the other hand, is the raw material upon which selection acts. It's the differences in traits among individuals within a population. It's the diversity of traits within a population. These traits can be anything from fur color to beak shape to behavioral tendencies. Think of it like a game of cards. Each individual is dealt a different hand, a unique combination of traits. Selection pressure is the rule of the game, dictating which cards are more valuable. In this game, the stakes are survival and reproduction. Variation is the hand you're dealt. The different cards you have to play with, the more diverse the hand, the more options you have to respond to the rules of the game. The more variation there is in a population, the more likely it is that some individuals will possess traits that give them an edge under a particular selection pressure. This edge can be the difference between life and death. For example, imagine a population of rabbits living in an area with snowy winters. The environment presents a unique set of challenges and opportunities. Some rabbits have white fur, providing camouflage against the snow, making them less visible to predators, while others have brown fur, which stands out against the white backdrop of snow. The selection pressure in this case is predation. Predators like owls are constantly on the lookout for their next meal. Owls can easily spot brown rabbits against the snow, making them more vulnerable to being caught, but white rabbits are harder to see. Their camouflage gives them a significant advantage in avoiding predators. This means white rabbits are more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass on their genes for white fur. Over time, the population may become predominantly white-furred, illustrating how selection pressure and variation drive evolution. Sometimes populations experience dramatic reductions in size. These reductions can be sudden and severe, often leaving a lasting impact on the ecosystem and the species that inhabit it. This could be due to natural disasters, disease outbreaks, or other catastrophic events. Hurricanes, wildfires, and pandemics are just a few examples of the forces that can drastically reduce population sizes in a short period. These events are called bottlenecks, and they can have a profound impact on the genetic diversity of a population. When a population goes through a bottleneck, the genetic variation within that population can be significantly reduced. Imagine pouring beads of different colors through a bottleneck. The narrow passage allows only a few beads to pass through at a time, representing the small number of individuals that survive the bottleneck event. Only a small fraction of the beads will make it through, and the resulting collection may not accurately represent the original mix. This analogy helps us understand how genetic diversity can be lost during a bottleneck. Similarly, when a population goes through a bottleneck, only a small, random sample of individuals survive. These survivors carry only a subset of the genetic diversity that was present in the original population. This can lead to a loss of genetic diversity and a change in the frequency of certain alleles, even if those alleles weren't particularly beneficial or harmful before the bottleneck. The genetic makeup of the population can be altered in unpredictable ways. This reduced genetic diversity can have long-term consequences. Populations with low genetic diversity may struggle to adapt to new environmental challenges, making them more vulnerable to extinction. It can make populations less adaptable to future environmental changes and more susceptible to diseases. Without a diverse genetic pool, the ability to evolve and survive in changing conditions is compromised. However, bottlenecks can also pave the way for rapid evolution, as rare alleles present in the surviving population suddenly become more common. This can lead to the emergence of new traits and adaptations that help the population thrive in its altered environment. Survival of the fittest is one of the most misunderstood concepts in evolution. It doesn't mean the biggest, strongest, or fastest individuals always win. Instead, fitness in an evolutionary context refers to an organism's ability to survive and reproduce in its specific environment. It's about how well an organism's traits are suited to the challenges it faces. A moth with camouflage that perfectly matches the bark of a tree might be incredibly fit, even if it's not particularly strong or fast. Similarly, a plant that can thrive in nutrient-poor soil has high fitness in that environment, even if it wouldn't stand a chance in a more fertile habitat. Fitness is relative and context-dependent. What makes an organism fit in one environment might be a disadvantage in another. It's not about being the best in any absolute sense, but rather about being well suited to the specific challenges and opportunities presented by the environment.